hydroponically. We've got raised beds. We're doing a community 4 raised beds right out my front door. That's going to establish community. That's going to be QRST opportunities. You know, the R in particular is relationship. You know, and the quantum, the little things, it's over planting potatoes and onions and carrots and stuff. Very cool. So yeah.
There's a guy. Oh, it all fits together, and it's funny how it's all just come up recently in my life too. But Ron Finley calls himself the gangster gardener because they've been doing curb gardens in East LA or Southeast LA. And in rough spots, and it's amazing the quantum entanglements that are coming from a garden in a place like that. He said one day he had a woman and her daughter, and probably homeless or at least nomadic, and they were picking food out of his garden. And he walked out, and they were like, "Oh," like they got caught. He said, "Man, nah, this is for you. This is what it's for. You eat that food, man. It's like it makes me feel good to see you doing that instead of whatever else." And he's got a phrase. He said, out there, everybody talks about the gang violence, but drive-throughs are killing more people than drive-bys. And he said they're selling mobility scooters like bikes, and it's a huge change to just start step by step to move out of the dependency on the system that doesn't have our best interests at heart. He's got a master class on gardening, and I've had it in my to-do list for some time now, just to hear the different perspective on doing it. He loves it. You can tell it. He's like, my guy, one of the sexiest things on earth.
It's gold, man.
Yeah,
green gold.
He said, growing food's like growing your own money.
That's right.
Yeah, my son turned me on to self-sufficient me. Big fella, big like a rugby looking guy.
Dude, right?
And he's Australian.
I love that guy.
Yeah, and of course with the depending on what your thesis is on what the ability to manipulate weather, which there's flooding going on in Eastern Australia. Because typically that's where you have your freedom thinkers and blah blah blah. But anyhow, this guy's been getting his gardens hammered, but man, just watching what he's doing and how big of a piece of real estate he can handle. And it's a great business. I enjoy when he comes on. He may do a video every other week or something like that. So but I'm learning stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, I was going to say about what you were saying about getting off the system. About 25 years, I have been fighting some physical issues with my body, and they have had me on high doses of drugs that they give chemotherapy patients and cancer patients at very high doses you're not supposed to have. And God has preserved my body for 25 years, even though I'm on this. Side note, ever since I found out what taking communion really does, I have been getting off that medication, and it's been going down. Instead of from 20 to 60 milligrams a day, girl. It's gone down and down and down and down, and I'm only at 5 right now. So praise God.
Imagine that.
But during that time, there were times where I would go for 6-8 months where I would sleep 20 hours a day, and I would only be able to be awake for 4 hours a day. And it was night and day from what I was before. I was one of those work hard, play harder kind of girls. I just go, go, go. So it was kind of a shock. But long story short, I've been on the system for 25 years because I couldn't work. And so my disability kicked in. And it is only in the last couple of years, I'm realizing this poverty mentality that I had, and realized that it's actually multi-generational, and I can see it now for what it is very strongly. And I'm like, no, I'm breaking this. This is it. No more of this. I bought my first gold. I bought my first silver. I'm trying, as soon as I can buy my driver's license in this blasted house, I'm buying NFTs and Ethereum and whatnot, crypto. but I'm starting a business. I want 12 minimum businesses going as far as passive income. I mean, I feel like I'm 18 learning everything again and just going for it full blast. So I am really getting out of that. No, we're breaking the mold with this generation. That's it.
Yes.
No more.
Yes.
Deanna, do you attribute all that to the revelation you have gotten from taking communion? How did you engage with communion to get where you're at now from such a dark place?
Communion, when I first found out about it, I didn't just take it once or twice a day. I was taking it 5, 7, 12, 15 times a day. I just kept doing it. And another thing I did was put my boyfriend let me borrow one of his work tablets. I loaded up the Bible in Hebrew full on, and I just plugged that sucker in, not knowing you weren't supposed to do this, plugged it in and let it run. Like I said, I was sleeping a lot of hours. I would run that playing. So I was hearing nothing but the word in Hebrew, and I didn't want it in English, so I couldn't do anything with preconceived beliefs or ideas. I just straight Hebrew, straight into me subconsciously, all night long, the whole time I'm in bed, the whole time I'm in the bedroom, whatever, until after about 3 months, I think I burned up that poor thing. It just died. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that, but I really wanted that word of God in me. So, and I was doing those two things at the same time, and everything started changing. But with my body, it was with communion. I truly believe the revelation of what communion really is radically changed everything.
Yeah.
I'm feeling convicted, in a really good way that for the past, I don't know, several days, I got a sinus thing, after having the thing coming back from the conference. And I am like, I am not going down that rabbit hole again. And so I did, I would take communion seriously in the morning, like the first thing, but with your intent of taking communion and engaging with the meaning and the person. Oh my gosh, Deanna, you know how I am about testimonies, guys. I mean, I love to share my testimony.
Do it again.
But this one here is such a life changer. I'm going to apply this, Deanna, and I will have a good testimony. So I'm not going to get this crap again. And some big changes with the whole other thing financially that you're talking about too. That's brilliant, Deanna. Thanks for sharing that, honey. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, Deanne, is that what I notice, and you get this from Ian, it's like a dog with a bone. They are not giving up that doggone bone. And and the tenacity, and then the intention of shutting your brain down and then to have the faith to assimilate what you're not getting, knowing that it's going in. I mean, it's like, I'm like, oh, Deanna, do you know what you're saying? And it's like, yeah, I think you do.
I just did what I knew, and that's all I knew.
Yeah, it's huge. That's a big deal, man. I'm just like, wow. Yes, we could meditate on that. But what I caught out of it was the tenacity of that dog with that bone. Until things are changing, this is what's gonna happen. And doing it with the right attitude. You're still, because where I think we cancel is when we don't seem to overcome the things in our crucible, whether it might be anxiety or depression or fear or some of the other things. It's like, that's why I love the fact that the adversary is irrelevant to all of us. And we can cooperate with our own body and frequency and with the Godhead and everything else in heaven that's available to us to transform us from the inside out down to the subatomic level. Because we're energetic beings. And it's just like, I don't get it all, but all of that just resonates, with the water of our body. I know it's true. And so I don't have it all figured out, but you know what? I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. We're onto something. And it's our dad and relationship, and stepping into that realm and consistently living in that realm as we transfigure and transform our own bodies. Because we all know, because when you told me that we don't have to die, I'm like, I'm in. I'm staying. So I just wanted to encourage you. Yeah. And as I discover things that, I've been doing this, that, and this is the way I'm feeling, because I'm very intuitive we all are with our bodies. And we want to help and create the most, I think, holistic environment for our bodies. There's just so much information and trying to navigate what's true, what's snake oil and all that. But in terms of all natural and herbs and all that, I'm all in.
It's interesting that this is a time and season and invitation for us to get into this stuff. With the price of food going up, involuntary, voluntary, it's happening. Whoever's pushing it, who knows? Doesn't really matter. This is an opportunity. At least this is what I'm feeling in the spirit. This is what I'm hearing from the Father. An invitation to the sons to increase and to improve their dietary lifestyles, and to offload the stuff that was convenient and easy access and was cheap, and now is no longer any one of those things, and to say, okay, we don't need this, and to go through the crucible of offloading those things and begin to explore a holistic avenues for our health, dietary, medical, supplementary, those kind of things. And that's in our household, that's we've been doing in the past month, is beginning to, as the price is going up, we're looking at, okay, let's nix that. It's nice. It wasn't necessary and it wasn't really healthy, but it was convenient and it was easy way to feed a family of 4 or 6 quickly, right? And it wasn't completely junk food, but it wasn't completely, we didn't know all of its sources, right? And so we're going through the process of going and doing that stuff. We're making more things from raw ingredients than we did before. And part of, like, to your point, Chris, is we're growing our food. We're using the raw ingredients that we have better success, or we know where the source may be from, and then taking those steps and putting those things together. And so it's exploratory right now, but there's an invitation, and I think there's a grace for the sons to step into this and to not be beholden to the system. Okay, this is part of getting off the system, right? Is removing those things in our lives that depend upon the system for the continuation of those resources, access to those things, and getting off of those more and more. We're more dependent upon our own in-home resources, our local resources. And it's good because it's requiring us to, as a family, to re-look at all of our food, look at our cupboards, look at our pantries. And we've done this before, but it's like a peeling of the onion. So let's go a little further into it. Let's go a little deeper. Where else can we change? And then incorporating our family, because that's the part of this, the QRST aspect of it, is that we are incorporating the boys into the process, helping make food, helping build better bodies, helping build better minds, helping them to rethink about their life, their dietary wants and needs, and what's necessary. That's all mixed into QRST. Overarching is Yahweh saying, here's an invitation. Things are hard out there. This is the crucible that the world's walking in. Don't make it a negative, make it a positive for your life. Turn this thing into a positive and use it to increase who you are in the earth. And so that helps. It helps when there's a lot of lack of hope, right? When there's fear, discouragement in the earth, and you're looking at prices and you say, it doesn't matter. he's got us covered, and I'm taking this invitation. I'm grabbing the bull by both horns, and we're going after this. And he will source everything we need.
There's a franticness that can seep in real quick. That's what I'm finding quite often, especially the news cycle. No matter how you read it, there's a franticness. Either you got to change things, or we can't stand for this, and it's like it's overwhelming. It's hard to go from 0 to Mad Max, but one step at a time. One step at a time is good. I mean, it's in the right direction. It's like I won't my foot won't get caught on a stone. I trust him. He knows, and I move one step at a time, and I know he's got me.
Yeah.
And there's that it encourages my relationship, because my franticness is not going to, or the angst is not going to be solved by a new raised bed. It's not going to be solved by replacing the system. I can get off the system and still be unhealthy and still be sick, because I've put my faith in the work of my hands. But he establishes the work of my hands. He brings the profit. And I got to keep grounding myself in that. And it takes that franticness out. And then it feels like freedom. Every step I step away from the system. I mean, shoot, man, 20 years ago, I ate at a gas station as often as I ate at home. That's not me anymore. And if I look around, there's tons of stuff I can replace. But it's one step at a time.
Right. In relationship.
Yes. I trust you, Yahweh.
This relationship is the safe ground. It keeps us from falling into the pits of FOMO in any camp.
Do you?
Yeah, that's what we've had. Because I, like you, had come home. I had like this sore throat. I wasn't sore to swallow, but where you breathe in, right there, it was sore where I would breathe. And then that went away. And then I ended up with a nasally nose, like you need to sneezing all the time. And if you couldn't sneeze, it would burn if you lost it, And then that cleared up, and now I have like this little bit of drip is all that's left. A little.
It's you guys are detoxing. It's your body detoxing.
Absolutely. Good, bro.
It's just
all you guys are doing
overload.
are detoxing.
Good, bro. Speak it.
Yep. So, we can't be afraid of every sniffle, everything that's going on. Like
you don't need to name it. You don't need to name it.
Yeah,
don't give it a name.
The overload, which caused the detox, because we were around so much high frequency, and plus all the frequency stuff was there. Then we'll come home and I got that thing going in my room all the time, and I'm sleeping with it, and so
it makes so much sense.
We're just detoxing. So much sense.
Yep. The kingdom of God is inside of us. And out of the belly flows the rivers of living water.
That's right.
And when you begin to activate, what is going to come out? Anything shaken that doesn't belong is going to be released and out of you. And we can't be afraid of it.
No.
We got a thankful, my wifey gave me a little bit of a wifey talk yesterday, because I was talking about my body and my hips been acting up and whatnot. And she's, and I'm going after it. I'm like, body, gotta line up and, and all this and my, and just commanding it. And my wife goes, you know what? Your intentions are right, but speak to your body in love, not in anger. Speak to your body, come out of the fear and speak to your body in love, because your body is like, that tone doesn't match. And so I'm like, I took it. I'm like, babe, this is really good. This is really good. And we kind of, her and I both have these talks, encourage each other in love. And especially when it comes to our bodies, it's just like we are walking above the sun, and not necessarily, we're not seeing it totally yet manifested. And so we're like, I'm on instant results. We're like wanting those results, and when we don't see them, it's like, come on. and realizing that we're in process and that our bodies are detoxing in a lot of ways. We have stored up a lot of unhealthy frequencies, unhealthy things in our bodies. You know, our bodies really have meridian lines. There's ley lines. There's all these different lines in our bodies that are really, I mean, Daddy is our creator created us. I mean, there's so much intricate pieces to our body, and we're a running highway constantly, where the blood flows and where everything goes. And over time, with our diet and the way we speak over our bodies, whenever it actually stops those, and the frequencies are at a point, and you know, we need to recognize that and begin to free ourselves from a lot of that.
Yeah, you know, the more we come into alignment with being and going after love, the love of the Father, the more we're going to carry that frequency.
Yep.
And so it's true, our body is sort of like a child, and we're the spirit that is the parent over that child. And as a parent, we've learned that we don't have to go after our children and like, what are you doing? You better line up. You better, you're out of sync and you need to line up and you need to act right. And that's not how we should approach our children. We approach them out of love. And, so that's kind of like how we do our body. We approach them instead of going after them in a way that we wouldn't go after our children. We don't go after our body that way. And we go after our body in a way of love, like we would a child of ours.
Really good.
The significance of loving my body.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I don't know if I'm starting to find it easier to make better decisions because I love my body, or my body's improving because I love my body. And I think it's the latter, and the former is just a consequence of that. But it's practice, like standing in the mirror and looking at my body and saying, I love you. I love you. And then, when I get feeling peckish at midnight and I eat something I wasn't supposed to and I feel it, I apologize sincerely, like it was another person. I'm sorry I did that. And, we'll try not to do that again. But I feel better. I feel better. I can't understate or overstate the significance of that simple practice of communicating with my body directly. I love you. And then, like the heart thing, I had some heart funkiness last year, and every time it would happen, and it felt like my heart would skip beats and get funky, and I'd say, no, I love you, and I have everything I need to fulfill everything on my scroll.
I'm like, after listening to you guys, this is so phenomenal. It's like, no, it's being detoxed out of my body. It's being detoxed out of it because expelled. In a place of wealth. I was in a place of, my intent was when Mario said, I am so glad that you saw that it's go for the bigger, go for the more, and then with the thing of, even the connections that we made at the conference. Daniel JoyJedi Cook will be at our house next week when Andy's going to be on his program, and he's going to have people trade in for No Limits Ranch, and this is just this increase that Father said was going to happen. So I'm in this and I get sick and I'm like, okay, this really sucks. I don't like this. But as I look at it from, I'm like, okay, instead of looking at it from down here, okay, I'm going to look at it from above the sun. Listening to you guys and Tina, when you stop, we're detoxing. I believe that I am detoxing.
We didn't come away from that conference with all that we got and all that we did and all that we received sick. We did not come away from there sick.
That's exactly right.
And it's not like you did something wrong. It's not like, is there punishment? Did I miss it, Lord? He doesn't even want us even take that thought captive. It doesn't, the adversary has nothing on us. So it's absolutely a detox deal. Is when you get that revelation. One of the things when we first met, over Zoom, is your faith was like when you assimilated information, your faith is like your faith is, you have big faith if it's right. And so what's awesome here for me, seeing you walk out the things that you're walking out, it's like, oh, this is going to be really good, because she's getting this revelation, and she's going to add already the bigness of her faith. And when it gets assimilated, it's just going to go. So yeah, I'm excited to see the expression of it, when it begins to manifest. So this is just going to be, yeah, God winks. A friend of mine calls them the little things. When I say imagine that, it's just like, connect the dots with, and my friend that's becoming more spiritual, which is interesting, over 30 years of friendship, calls them, he's recognizing the God winks, and just going from God wink to God wink. I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, I'm gonna steal that. That's good. I like that. Yeah, God wink. So you got yourself a God wink.
It's interesting, Boston C, that you mentioned sage earlier. And I think that we're in Papa's garden and he's growing up a bunch of sages.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, geez.
Out of us
That's
is
good.
that fresh wisdom
Oh,
that
And
we
sage
are.
purifies the air.
Yep.
You can burn it and it purifies the air.
my son told me that you would light it and walk through a room to clean out whatever, like, yeah.
Like
I don't know
in
if it's, yes.
But that's who
so
we
good.
are in Papa's hand. It's like,
So
we are lit in him. We are his frequency, his tuning fork, his sages. He's got us. A sage is another word for wise man, somebody who hears and listens and sees what is our Father's doing. And I really feel like Yeshua, one of the words is for him would be sage. He was definitely, obviously, he is the ultimate sage. And if we, our eyes are obviously walk in him and through him and have our being in him, that's who we are as well. So don't be surprised down the road, it's another word for mystic, just that sage. Just like, yeah, I really like being Papa's sage. Flavors a lot of good food, smells good.
love it.
I mean, just can grow in all different areas. And yeah.
It's pretty wild. There's research. I mean, this isn't just like hocus pocus. When you burn sage, 30 days later, surfaces have fewer negative microbes and bacteria. I mean, it's
I mean, the
crazy.
Native Americans used it to get rid of the spirits.
Yeah.
They would, whatever they would do it, over all their stuff, their bodies and whatnot. And, so it has a lot of really good qualities. Yep. Multi-realm. Agree.
So good. This was so
You're
good.
super sages.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. Have you found any more buttons on the floor lately, bro?
I have not found a button. I found other stuff. Daddy gave me I get stuff all the time. I'm like, oh man. It's just it's like the Hansel and Gretel, the breadcrumbs. And I know we don't get the breadcrumbs as far as Daddy gives us the whole loaf, but I find that, if I grab a hold of the little that he gives me, it turns into much so quick. I mean, it multiplies, and I have more than enough to give to eat myself because I love the revelation and the goodies that he gives me, but then to share and the multiplication is where it's at. You know, his kingdom is, I mean, it's within, but it comes out. I mean, you cannot, we are signs and wonders. We cannot not be a sign and a wonder. You know, so I mean, the imagination, this is another word for me, is you can put it in three words. I is an eye, but also I is in the eye of the beholder, is the eye. And then Magi, which is another word for wise men or a sage or one who sees, and then nation. So our imagination is all about nations, imaginations. Imagine the nations, the kingdoms, the businesses, the realms that we're in, that we get to walk in and through our imagination and be seers and be seen in our own ways, where we don't all see the same. Our imagination is not the same as you know, who I see in front. Our imaginations are different, and so we need to realize that, for one, that, oh, you know, I don't see the way that JoyJedi sees. I don't see the way that, you know, Andy sees, but I see the way that I see, and my imagination's amazing. You know, and that's another, we need to begin to talk to our imagination in that way. I really apologize to our imagination, you know, and say, you know what, I'm sorry that I've treated you the way that I've treated you. I'm sorry for, you know, just, you know, and begin to have communion with our imagination, in our imagination, allowing it to flow and detox in itself, and then begin to flow in and create new pathways, new journey, new realms within our imaginations to allow us to, I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah, the facets of the diamonds in our imaginations are amazing.
Also, I just want to tell everybody, just keep illuminating. And you loomies, I love that. I love Piper coming in with the loomies. We're just loomies. We're illuminating. We illuminate. We're luminaries. I just love it. Loomy-oonies. We're just bright ones.
That's
so you
right.
Guys,
come on.
Stay on the
Shining
path.
ones, let your light shine.
Yeah, so everybody stay in the path, stay in the way, and love you guys.
Shine in that frequency.
Love you
of
too.
love.
We'll see you soon, guys.